Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. While Monster Hunter has been rather quiet as we wait for new updates and releases, I found my fix and I wanted to share it with you today. If you aren't hunting monsters, well, how about ghosts? First, I'll give you a summary of how this game is played in under 3 minutes. Then I'll go over all 29 ghosts as of May 2026. Great alone, but even better with friends, Phasmophobia is more of a puzzle game with horror elements than a horror game with puzzle elements, if that makes sense. Start to stopwatch, here we go. Phasmophobia is an arcade-style single-player or co-op horror game where you investigate haunted locations to identify the ghosts that are haunting them. Between missions, you can buy equipment, customize settings, and view your trophies in the main hub. To start, select a map and a difficulty, then off you go. Each investigation gives you a random ghost name along with optional objectives for extra money and experience. You can earn bonus rewards for capturing video, photo, or audio evidence during the hunt. Your goal is to figure out which room the ghost is in, identify the ghost type using specialized tools and behavior clues, then escape alive. Each ghost has 3 core pieces of evidence from a pool of 7 possible types. EMF 5, an EMF reader spikes to level 5 near ghost activity. Spirit Box. The ghost responds to questions through a radio in the dark.
An elderly individual.
Writing. The ghost writes in a ghost writing book. Dots. A ghost silhouette moves through a dots projector. UV. Fingerprints or footprints appear under ultraviolet light. Freezing temps. Temperatures drop below freezing. Orbs. Floating ghost orbs appear through a video camera. The danger comes from your sanity level. Staying in the dark, witnessing ghost events, or lingering near the ghost drains your sanity over time. Once it gets low enough, the ghost may initiate a hunt. During hunts, you'll need to hide, stay quiet, and use your tools effectively in order to survive. As you improve, harder difficulties unlock where ghosts may hide some or all of their evidence, forcing you to identify them through their unique behaviors instead. You'll also get to unlock better equipment as you level up. It's a simple concept with a surprising amount of depth and strategy, and it's highly addictive. As of May 2026, the game now has 29 ghost types. Each has 3 pieces of core evidence, but they can also be identified through various tells and abilities they might use, or finally how they hunt players, like the sanity threshold it needs to be before it can start a hunt, or how fast it might move during a hunt. I'll be going in alphabetical order. Before I start, a quick shout out to Zero Network's unofficial Phasmophobia cheat sheet, which is in the link in the description down below. It's a website that basically everybody uses that compiles all the community found information into an interactive and improved ghost journal. For each ghost, I'll quickly cover its core concept, evidence, hunt threshold and speed, then go over its unique behaviors and additional tells. Normal hunt threshold is when the average player's sanity is at 50%, and normal hunt speed is 1.7 meters per second, so I'll only call out exact values when it's irregular. This is going to be a longer video, so feel free to jump around the chapters, binge watch all of it, or come back and use it as a reference point later. Also, please do not attack me if I butcher the pronunciation of any of these ghost names. I'm just doing the best that I can. The Aswang, a ghost based on Filipino folklore. While the Aswang is a pretty general ghost concept, for Phasmophobia they decided to envision it like a hunting wolf that enjoys hunting its prey. Its hunt threshold is normal and its speed is a tad slower than normal at 1.53 meters per second. The Aswang's unique ability activates during hunts. If it reaches a player hiding in an official hiding spot like inside of a closet or something like that, it'll immediately end the hunt instead of killing them. However, this also skips the normal hunt cooldown, meaning that it can begin another hunt anytime instantly afterwards. Be careful though, Once the Aswang gains line of sight during a hunt, it accelerates twice as quickly as a normal ghost, making it extremely dangerous in open large areas. If you suspect a ghost is an Aswang, it's a good idea to check where your safe spots are. The Banshee, a ghost from Irish folklore. The Banshee selects a single target player and focuses almost entirely on them during the investigation. If the ghost's name is a male, you can immediately rule out a Banshee. Its evidence are dots, UV, and ghost orbs. Its hunt threshold and speed are normal, but instead of being based on the average player's sanity, it only looks at the sanity of its target. The Banshee's main ability is its tendency to roam directly towards its target. If the target is on the same floor, there's a high chance the ghost will wander toward them, even from far away. Unlike most ghosts, these roams do not create an EMF reading. A Banshee can also change its ghost room over much larger distances than most ghosts. The Banshee has a chance to produce a unique scream through the parabolic microphone or sound recorder. It also strongly prefers singing ghost events. A normal singing event will drain 10% sanity, but a Banshee's version will drain 15%. During co-op, it can be a little bit more obvious when one player is being targeted, but if you're playing alone or if unsure, checking for Banshee screams is a good approach if you suspect the ghost of being one. The Dayan, a ghost from Indian and Pakistani folklore. The Dayan is a vengeful female spirit that aggressively lashes out at nearby players. This is the only other female-only ghost alongside the Banshee, so if the ghost's name is male, you can immediately rule out a Dayan. Its evidence are EMF 5, Spirit Box, and Ghost Orbs. The Dayan's hunt behavior changes depending on whether the nearby player is moving or standing still, making hunt speed the main way to identify it. During a hunt, if a player is within 10 meters of it, it will slow down to 1.2 meters per second if the player is standing still. But once that player starts moving, it'll rapidly speed up to 2.25 meters per second to close the distance. Since its speed is fixed on player movement and distance, it does not gain additional speed from line of sight acceleration. Try to find a longer hallway so that you have space to stand still and back up to see if the ghost's speed changes. The Demon, a classic evil entity whose only goal is to kill, making it one of the most dangerous ghosts in the game. Simple but effective. Its evidence are UV, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. It has normal hunt speed, but what makes it deadly is how early and frequently it can hunt. Most ghosts can't hunt until the team reaches 50% average sanity, but a demon can hunt at 70%. It also has an ability that will allow it to initiate a hunt at any sanity level. In fact, one of the harder achievements in the game is being killed by a demon within the first 60 seconds of an investigation. The demon also has a shorter hunt cooldown of 20 seconds instead of the standard 25. And after being repelled with incense, it can begin hunting again after just 60 seconds instead of the usual 90. Crucifixes are especially effective against demons, gaining 50% additional range. During a hunt, light switches won't work, so flickering on and off can help you to time when a hunt ends and starts if you're at a safe distance. The Deogen, a ghost from Belgian folklore. The name literally means the eyes, and it's just that. You cannot hide from a Deogen. It can see all players at all times. Its evidence are dots, spirit box, and ghost writing. It has a lower hunt threshold of 40%, and its speed is what makes it so unique. When farther than 2.5 meters away from a player, the Deogen will immediately start sprinting at the start of a hunt towards a player at a blazing 3 meters per second. However, once close, it slows down to a laughable 0.4 meters per second, which makes it very easy to walk around and avoid, provided that you haven't locked yourself into a small space. Since the speed is fixed, it does not gain line of sight acceleration. The Deogen has a 33% chance of giving a special breathing sound on a spirit box if used within 1 meter of it. On investigations with one or more evidence, the Deogen cannot hide its spirit box evidence. The Gallu, a ghost from Sumerian Babylonian folklore. A devil from the underworld, the Gallu are hostile towards all things holy and pure. Phasmophobia has taken this quite literally. Its evidence are EMF 5, UV, and Spirit Box. The Gallu has 3 different states that affect its hunt threshold and speed. It begins in a normal state, but if it's affected by incense, salt, or a crucifix, it'll become enraged, causing it to hunt earlier and move faster. After an enraged hunt, it'll enter a weakened state where it eventually becomes slower and then returns back to normal. The easiest way to identify a Gallu is with salt. If you place multiple salt piles in a path, it'll step in the first one, become enraged, and then refuse to disturb the remaining salt piles before or during the next hunt. The Goryo, a ghost from Japanese folklore. These are vengeful spirits of nobles who suffered unjust deaths and were sometimes enshrined as protective guardians. The aspect of being enshrined is what Phasmophobia draws on. Its evidence are dots, UV, and Spirit Box. It has a normal hunt threshold and speed. Like its folklore origins as a guardian, the Goryo cannot change ghost rooms and rarely wanders far from it. On difficulties with at least one piece of evidence enabled, it also cannot hide its dots evidence. What makes the Goryo difficult to identify is how it interacts with dots. If a player is inside or near the same room, the Goryo will not appear in dots directly. Instead, it can only be seen through a video camera from a distance. If you suspect it's a Goryo and you're struggling to get dots evidence, try watching the room remotely through a camera feed instead. The Hantu, a ghost from Malay and Indonesian folklore. While Malay folklore doesn't specifically associate Hantu with freezing temperatures, Phasmophobia combines Southeast Asian ghost traditions with the paranormal trope of spirits causing sudden cold spots. Its evidence are UV, ghost orbs, and freezing temperatures. It has a normal hunt threshold, but it'll move much faster in colder areas, reaching speeds up to 2.7 meters per second. Since its speed depends entirely on temperature, it does not gain additional speed from line-of-sight acceleration. As a ghost empowered by the cold, the Hantu cannot hide freezing temperatures if at least one piece of evidence is enabled. It also prefers cold environments, obviously, so it frequently will turn the breaker off, and of course it'll never turn it on. One of the easiest ways to identify a Hantu is to let it hunt with the breaker turned off. During this condition, the Hantu will visibly emit freezing breath mist while moving throughout the house, making it very easy to identify. The Jinn, a ghost from Arabian folklore. These are not actually spirits of dead people, but they're their own separate class of being. In Phasmophobia, it seems they took the idea of being born from quote-unquote smokeless fire and are expressing that as electricity. The evidence is EMF 5, UV, and freezing temperatures. It has normal hunt threshold and speed. The Jinn uses electricity to power its ability, which is to suddenly drop a player's sanity by 25%. When it does this, it'll leave an EMF 2 reading at the breaker, making it pretty hard to identify. During a hunt, a Jinn will rush at a player at a fast 2.25 meters per second, and once it gets within 3 meters, then it'll transition back to a normal speed. Because the speed is fixed, they also do not gain line-of-sight acceleration. All of its abilities are disabled if the breaker is off. As a result, it cannot turn the breaker off itself, and it sounds like a good thing, but without it being able to use its ability, it makes it very hard to identify. The Kormos, a ghost from Turkic folklore. Its name means blind, and that's exactly how it behaves in Phasmophobia. It cannot see, but in exchange it has an incredibly heightened sense of hearing. This is a brand new ghost as of May 2026, so additional mechanics may be discovered by the community. Its evidence are UV, Spirit Box, and Ghost Orbs. The Kormos has a normal hunt threshold and speed, but if a player sprints in the same room as it, the ghost can hunt as early as 70% sanity. During hunts, the Kormos uses sound to track players. If it detects movement or footsteps, it will charge toward the player at a fast 2.21 meters per second. However, as long as you are not directly in its natural path, standing completely still and making sure you have no electronics turned on will make you effectively invisible. But be careful, even a small movement of your foot can immediately give away your position. The Mare, a ghost from Germanic folklore. Traditionally associated with nightmares, the Mare is strongest in darkness, and that theme carries directly into Phasmophobia. Its evidence are dots, ghost orbs, and ghost writing. It hunts late at 40% sanity while lights are on, but earlier at 60% sanity if in darkness. The Mare's main ability allows it to instantly switch a light back off shortly after a player turns it on, reinforcing its preference for dark environments. It's kind of like you flipped it on and goes nope, and just flips the switch right back off. Like the Banshee, the Mare is also capable of changing its ghost room much farther than the normal 12-meter range, actively seeking out the darker areas of the map. And because its power is tied to darkness, the Mare will never itself turn the lights on. The Moroi, a ghost from Romanian folklore. Traditionally depicted as a vampire-like spirit that drains energy from the living, Phasmophobia reimagines that concept through sanity drain. Its evidence are spirit box, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. It has a normal hunt threshold, but starts slightly slower than most at 1.5 meters per second. However, the lower the team's average sanity becomes, the faster the Moroi grows, eventually reaching speeds up to 2.25 meters per second. The Moroi's main ability is its curse. If a player hears it through a spirit box, parabolic microphone, or sound recorder, they become cursed, causing their passive sanity to drain double the normal rate, even while standing in lit rooms.
Elderly.
The only way to remove the curse, of course, is by taking sanity medication. And because the Moroi is a ghost that feeds on players, it is repelled longer by incense, remaining affected for 7 seconds instead of the standard 5. It's a good idea if you do get spirit box evidence and you do have the sanity monitor on, to just take a minute, stand in a lit room and see if your sanity continues to drain. If it does, it could be the sign of a Moroi. The Myling, a ghost from Scandinavian folklore. These are believed to be the spirits of abandoned children who sing or cry out at night, hoping somebody will find and properly bury them. In Phasmophobia, this idea is translated quite well. Its evidence are EMF 5, UV, and ghost writing. It has normal hunt threshold and speed. The Myling frequently produces paranormal sounds that can be detected using a parabolic microphone or sound recorder, and can make these sounds more often than other ghosts. If a ghost makes a noise through the parabolic or sound recorder and then it does it again before 80 seconds, you can definitely know that it's a Myling. But while the Myling is noisy outside of hunts, it becomes unusually quiet once a hunt begins. Its footsteps and vocal sounds can only be heard from just 12 meters away, compared to the normal 20-meter range of most other ghosts, allowing it to quietly stalk players before they realize how close it really is. The Obake, a ghost from Japanese folklore. Its name comes from the verb bakeru, meaning to transform or change shape. Obake are traditionally supernatural beings that disguise themselves as humans, and Phasmophobia uses that concept pretty well. Its evidence are EMF 5, UV, and ghost orbs. It has normal hunt threshold and speed. The Obake attempts to hide its ultraviolet evidence, giving it a 25% chance to leave no fingerprints at all. And when it does leave fingerprints, they disappear twice as fast as normal. However, its prints can also accidentally reveal its identity. Obake fingerprints occasionally appear with 6 fingers instead of 5. And light switch interactions may show up as 2 fingerprints instead of 1. You can also sometimes skip leaving UV footprints after stepping through salt. However, the easiest way to identify an Obake is through a hunt. Every 10 to 15 seconds or so, it will briefly shapeshift into a completely different ghost model for a single blink interval before returning to normal, giving it away that it is a shapeshifter. The Obambo, a ghost from African folklore. It's a supernatural entity often associated with possession. In Phasmophobia, that idea is interpreted as an unstable personality that shifts between calm and aggressive states. Its evidence are dots, UV, and ghostwriting. Its hunt threshold and speed are heavily tied to whichever state it currently is in. At the start of an investigation, when you open the front door, it begins a calm state for 1 minute before switching into its aggressive state and then cycles between them every 2 minutes. When calm, the Obambo frequently performs ghost events and interactions in an attempt to drain the player's sanity. However, it does become weaker when hunting, with a very low hunt threshold of just 10% sanity and a slower movement speed of 1.5 meters per second. But when aggressive, the Obambo becomes dangerous, hunting as early as 65% sanity and moving as fast as 1.96 meters per second. One of the easiest ways to identify an aggressive Obambo is by its shortened hunt duration. It's the only ghost that does this, but its hunts will last roughly 20% less time than a normal hunt. The Oni, a ghost from Japanese folklore. Oni are often depicted as monstrous physical entities that can be fought or even killed. In Phasmophobia, the developers focused heavily on that physical presence in their interpretation. Its evidence are EMF 5, dots, and freezing temperatures. Its hunt threshold and speed are both normal. Oni love performing ghost events and frequently show off their physical form. Their ghost events drain 20% sanity instead of the standard 10%, making repeated encounters especially dangerous. And because Oni prefer their physical manifestation, they'll never perform the ghost mist event. That's when that little white ball of mist goes to you and you hear a in your ear. They're also one of the easiest ghosts to identify during hunts, as they remain visible for longer periods when they're flickering compared to most of the other ghosts. The Onryo, another ghost from Japanese folklore. Literally meaning vengeful spirit, Phasmophobia appears to combine that concept with the common Japanese belief that fire can purify evil. Its evidence are spirit box, ghost orbs, and freezing temperatures. It has a normal hunt speed but can hunt slightly earlier than most ghosts at 60% sanity. The Onryo's defining mechanic revolves around fire. Every third flame source it extinguishes allows it to immediately to attempt to hunt regardless of player sanity. However, fire also acts as a crucifix against an Onryo. If another lit flame is nearby, that flame will be extinguished to prevent the hunt instead of consuming a crucifix. Unlike most ghosts, the Onryo can extinguish flames earlier than the normal 25-second cooldown, and it will never light fires by itself. The easiest way to test for the Onryo is to place several lit firelights near the ghost. If the ghost attempts to hunt immediately after extinguishing the third flame, only to be stopped hopefully by another flame or a crucifix, there's a very good chance you're dealing with an Onryo. The Phantom, a ghost inspired by classic supernatural folklore. Phasmophobia takes the idea of an invisible spirit haunting people and translates it into this ghost's mechanics. Its evidence are dots, UV, and spirit box. Its hunt threshold and speed are both normal. The Phantom's main ability is roaming directly towards players, leaving behind an EMF level 2 reading when it does. And whenever a player is close enough to hear the Phantom's heartbeat during a ghost event or hunt, their sanity rapidly drains at 0.5% per second. The easiest way to identify a Phantom is by taking a photo of it while it appears in dots. The ghost will instantly disappear, and while the game still counts it as a ghost photo, the Phantom itself will not actually appear in the picture. During hunts, the Phantom is almost like the opposite of an Oni. Instead of remaining visible longer than normal, it flickers less often and stays invisible for longer, making it harder to track visually. The Poltergeist, a ghost from Germanic folklore. Its name literally means the noisy spirit, and the classic portrayal of causing physical disturbances is translated really well into Phasmophobia, making it one of the most fun ghosts to interact with. Its evidence are UV, spirit box, and ghost writing. Its hunt threshold and speed are both normal. The Poltergeist's signature ability is often referred to by players as the Poltergeist Explosion. It can throw, launch, and manipulate multiple nearby objects at the same time, creating a massive burst of activity. Each object thrown drains 2% sanity from anybody nearby, but honestly, once you know that it's a Poltergeist, you can't help but just start piling up all the plates and pictures and all the other objects just to see that really big explosion happen, because it's so fun. During hunts, most ghosts will only have a 50% chance every half second or so to throw a nearby object, but for a Poltergeist, object throws are guaranteed. So if items are constantly flying around during the hunt, there's a very good chance you're dealing with a Poltergeist. But honestly, you'll probably know before you get into a hunt if it's a Poltergeist just based on the sheer power of how much it can throw items. The Raiju, a ghost based on Japanese folklore. Its name literally means thunder beast, and it's often depicted as being filled with lightning. In Phasmophobia, electricity became the natural way to express that concept. Its evidence are EMF 5, dots, and ghost orbs. It has normal hunt threshold and speed. However, if active electronic equipment is nearby, the Raiju becomes empowered, allowing it to hunt at 65% sanity and move at a fast 2.5 meters per second. Because its speed is tied directly to nearby electronics, the Raiju does not gain additional acceleration from line of sight during hunts. Another tell is its interaction with electronics during ghost events. Electronic interference, where kind of screen flickers and stuff like that, can occur from a much greater distance than normal when dealing with a Raiju. And during hunts, the Raiju's heartbeat has a noticeably deeper, bass-heavy sound that can be heard from further away than other ghosts. The Revenant, a ghost inspired by European folklore. Traditionally, a Revenant is simply a corpse that has returned from the dead, but in Phasmophobia it's been reimagined as a relentless hunter whose sole purpose is to seek out and kill. Its evidence are ghost orbs, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. It has a normal hunt threshold, but its movement speed is the entire gimmick of this ghost, and makes it, quite honestly, the hardest one in the game to deal with. When the Revenant does not have a line of sight to the player, it moves pretty slow at just 1 meter per second, but the instant it spots someone, it explodes into a terrifying sprint at 3 meters per second with no buildup or gradual acceleration. It just goes. Because the speed is fixed, the Revenant does not gain additional line of sight acceleration like most ghosts. It simply goes from really slow to full speed immediately. Outside of hunts, there is virtually no reliable way to identify it, making it one of the most dangerous ghosts in the game. The Shade, a ghost inspired by classic ghost folklore. Traditionally, a shade refers to a spirit of a dead person dwelling in the underworld, but Phasmophobia leans heavily into the idea of a faint, elusive presence. Its evidence are EMF 5, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. It hunts very late at just 35% sanity and moves at a normal speed. This is the I'm just gonna poke it with a stick and say, do something type of ghost. They literally just don't do anything. Shades are incredibly shy or just inactive around players. If you're in the same room as it, it will not perform any interaction that will generate an EMF evidence. That includes throwing objects, doing ghost events, you name it. They also strongly prefer appearing as a shadow figure during ghost events, and they will never perform singing events. So how do you identify a ghost that barely does anything while you're around it? Well, you just leave the room and monitor activity from a distance.
20 minutes later.
If the ghost suddenly becomes much more active once players leave, and especially if you see frequent ghost mist events, there's a very good chance you're dealing with a shade. The Spirit, a ghost inspired by classic ghost folklore. This is essentially the template ghost of Phasmophobia, the standard baseline that all the other ghosts are built around. It's kinda boring. Its evidence are EMF 5, Spirit Box, and Ghost Writing. It's got a normal hunt threshold and speed. The Spirit has almost no unique behavior or gimmicks, however it does have one important trait. If you repel it with incense, it becomes unable to initiate another hunt for a full 3 minutes instead of the normal 90 seconds. If a ghost feels completely average in almost every way, but hunts far less often after being smudged, there's a good chance you're dealing with a spirit. The Thaye, a ghost inspired by Burmese folklore. Traditionally depicted as the spirits of evil people condemned to wander the world forever, Phasmophobia takes that idea and reimagines what happens even as those spirits continue to age. Its evidence are dots, ghost orbs, and ghost writing. The Thaye begins the investigation young, making it one of the most dangerous ghosts in the game early on. It can hunt as early as 75% sanity and moves as fast as 2.75 meters per second. Because its speed is fixed, the Thaye do not gain additional acceleration from line of sight during hunts. However, the poor evil schmuck doesn't stay young forever. Every 1 to 2 minutes spent near players in the same room causes the Thaye to age. And as it ages, both its hunt threshold and its movement speed steadily weaken. After aging several times, the Thaye eventually becomes one of the slowest and least aggressive ghosts in the game. So if a ghost is really active at the start and then slowly gets dead quiet, there's a good chance it could be a Thaye. There's also a fun trick involving the Ouija board. If a Ouija board spawns during one of your investigations and you have it, you can periodically ask the ghost for its age, and you'll actually see the number increase over time. And importantly, no other ghost in the game can have an age older than 90 years old, so if it answers back with 91 or 93, you know it's a Thaye. The Mimic, a ghost inspired by supernatural folklore. As the name suggests, it imitates the behaviors and characteristics of other ghosts in order to conceal its identity. Its evidence are UV, Spirit Box, freezing temperatures, and ghost orbs. The Mimic is the only ghost in the game with technically 4 pieces of evidence. However, the ghost orbs are considered fake evidence and they're always present. Even on settings with 0 evidence enabled, a Mimic will still produce the ghost orbs, making that a major giveaway. Outside of the guaranteed ghost orbs though, the main way to identify a Mimic is basically just through inconsistent behavior during the investigation. If a ghost's behavior feels contradictory or doesn't seem to match any particular type, there's a good chance that you're dealing with a Mimic and you should go look for ghost orbs. The Twins, a ghost inspired by supernatural folklore. Despite the name, this is technically a single ghost split into 2 manifestations, a slower inner apparition and a slightly faster outer one. Its evidence are EMF 5, Spirit Box, and freezing temperatures. It has a normal hunt threshold, but its hunt speed changes depending on which manifestation is active. The inner apparition moves slightly slower than normal, while the outer one moves slightly faster. The Twins' main ability is performing interactions in 2 nearby locations within a very short time window, like 2 seconds. The outer apparition can interact with objects roughly 2 meters away from the main ghost position, so if you notice activity just scattered all outside the ghost room, there's a good chance that you might be dealing with the Twins. Honestly, they can be pretty difficult to confirm, but speed is usually the most consistent tell, since it can alternate between hunts. Another clue might be if you think you're covered by a crucifix's range, but the hunt happens anyways, it could be that the outer ghost, which is 2 point whatever meters away, is the one that initiated the hunt, which is why it got through. The Wraith, a ghost inspired by classic supernatural folklore. You know that old Hollywood trope of a ghost floating above the ground while silently following people around? Well, that's basically a Wraith. Its evidence are EMF 5, dots, and Spirit Box. Its hunt threshold and speed are both normal. The Wraith's defining ability is that it can teleport directly to players. While Phantoms and Banshees can sometimes feel like they instantly appear out of nowhere because of their roaming behavior, the Wraith is the only ghost in the game that can truly teleport. When it does, it'll leave behind an EMF level 2 reading at the player's feet, though this is occasionally registered as an EMF 5 instead. And thankfully, the Wraith is one of the easiest ghosts to test for. Unlike every other ghost in the game, it can't disturb salt. So if a ghost walks directly through salt without leaving footprints or disturbing the pile, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're dealing with a Wraith. The Yokai, a ghost inspired by a popular Japanese video game and I'm just joking. It's just a ghost inspired by Japanese folklore. Yokai is actually a very broad term just referring to supernatural entities in general. And because yokai are not traditionally the spirits of the dead, Phasmophobia gave this ghost a unique mechanic tied to hearing and human voices. Its evidence are dots, spirit box, and ghost orbs. Its hunt threshold and speed are normal, but if players are nearby talking via the in-game voice chat or radios, the yokai can hunt much earlier at 80% sanity. I guess it doesn't like the sound of human voices. The yokai's biggest weakness though is its poor hearing during hunts. While most ghosts can detect sounds and electronics from about 7.5 to 9 meters away, the yokai can only hear things within a range of 2.5 meters. So if a yokai seems to walk right past you during a hunt without reacting to your electronics or voice, there's a good chance you're dealing with one. The Yurei, a ghost inspired by Japanese folklore. In many ways, a Yurei is essentially the Japanese equivalent of the classic Western ghost. In Phasmophobia, however, the developers gave it a unique identity centered around doors. Its evidence are dots, ghost orbs, and freezing temperatures. It has normal hunt threshold and speed. The Yurei's defining mechanic revolves around doors. It has a special ability to forcibly slam a door completely shut, creating a loud sound and draining 15% sanity from all nearby players. And while many ghosts can interact with doors occasionally, the Yurei has a unique tell. It has to fully open or fully close a door rather than slightly moving them. The final clue involves incense. If you repel a Yurei with incense, it becomes trapped inside the current ghost room for 90 seconds. Of course, if it does a ghost event, it might appear outside the room, but in general, it'll be locked inside. But honestly, the dramatic door behavior is usually the easiest way to identify a Yurei. And that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. Hopefully that'll be a good reference if you do get into the game, which I highly recommend. I mean, it's priced aggressively small right now. The game is going to have its official 1.0 launch, despite the fact that the game's been out in its, early peak development for what, like 5 years? It's fully fleshed out. It's well worth the price tag, if not more. And it's just a really fun game that tests your focus, your ability to deduce, and to spot patterns. And I just find it relaxing because you're so focused on the environment that you kind of just forget about your daily worries and all the other troubles of life. Hope you guys enjoyed this guide to all the 29 ghosts. Eventually they'll probably add in some more, so we might be doing an updated guide a year from now, who knows. But I am looking forward to the official 1.0 release, and hopefully some of you guys joining Phasmophobia as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Until next time, happy hunting.